Our next guest is a self-made man, and you know him, and you know him well. He built his company from scratch following years of addiction. He joins us now to talk about his story, and it's one of certainly of inspiration and hope and immense success. To put some of this in context, in 2017, and believe it or not, 2 years ago is the latest set of numbers for the number of Americans who died of drug overdoses. And that number is startling, and it's surely higher now. 70,000 people dying in 2017 from drug overdoses. Joining me now is Mike Lindell, the inventor, the CEO, and great American. He is the inventor of MyPillow, the author of this new book, What Are the Odds? From Crack Addict to CEO. Mike, it is great to have you with us. I wanted to talk about addiction for a bit, because you were an addict for a very long time. You know the pain, you know the costs, and you employ addicts in your business. This country doesn't seem to have the ability to come to terms with addiction. This president is the first president to start talking about the opioid crisis in this country. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, and you know, my book that came out now, is going to help so many addicts. I say, one of the things I say in the book is everybody is affected by addiction, no matter how many forks we eat with. And what I mean by that is it's not just what you think of an addict in the street. I was a very functioning addict, and what's happened now with MyPillow, that was just a platform, I know, for me, that God gave me for a much bigger purpose, and that was to where I'm coming out now. I have the Lindell Recovery Network coming out, and you're right. I was there when the president signed the opiate bill, and all the things he's doing to wipe out this addiction and to help addicts across the country. It's one of the biggest things we face. But I do believe that addiction is an opportunity for the biggest revival this country's ever had.
And when you talk about the biggest revival, let's start with a very large one for you and personally for you. How did you move from a functioning addict to an immensely successful entrepreneur and businessman who is no longer an addict?
The grace of God. I mean, I owe it all to God. I did quit everything January 16, 2009, overnight, where God freed me of the desire. But there were so many things that seeds were planted to where I did a full surrender to Jesus Christ in 2017. But one of the things, the faith-based treatment centers that work, these are the things that work, where, you know, I don't believe addiction's a disease. I think these secular centers prey on addicts and their families, and pay this much to go to treatment. You get out and you don't have you don't have these wounds addressed. I believe addiction comes from childhood, comes from fatherlessness. When my parents divorced when I was 7 years old in 1970, when divorces weren't common, and then veterans that get traumatized. I mean, this is where deep down we need those wounds addressed, and we need to get our hearts restored. And I'll tell you what, there's no harder worker than an addict. When an addict gets their heart restored and they get well, they're the best workers you can get, because addiction's hard work. People ask me all the time, Mike, you work so hard. I said, I love what I'm doing. Addiction was hard work.
Yes, and it is so destructive of the individual, the family, all of the human potential in this country that is lost.
Yes.
And I've got to ask you this: we're running out of time. I'd like you to come back and we can talk more about this, because it's so important.
Yeah.
First, you know what? Let's close on a happy note here. Can we do this for today? What do you think of the health of this economy, the health of your business, and how do you feel about how great America is right now?
I'll tell you what, I was a crack addict. When I came out of addiction, this whole country, you had a president giving money to evil empires. All my friends were unemployed and people losing their houses. Now I meet Donald Trump before he was president in 2016. I walked out of his office. I go, this guy's going to be the greatest president ever, and he has proved it. I went all in on faith. All my friends are employed now. Everybody's getting higher wages. Consumer confidence is the highest ever, and let me tell you, that means entrepreneurs entrepreneurs can take chances on businesses and on inventions, and they have a safety net to fall back to. I mean, it's the lowest unemployment. Everything is great. The highest stock market. I look around. I tell my friends, "See, I told you. I told you." And it's going to be an amazing 5 years coming up, because there's going to be more and more and more and more done.
From your lips to God's ears, Mike Lindell, thanks so much.